The newest role in Football Manager 2022 is the wide centre back. How the hell do you use it? Let's go. How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to Know Your Roles. It's been a little while since we've done one, but today we're going to cover a big requested one. It's the wide centre back, FM22's newest role that we're going to use in three at the back systems. Looking forward to this one. Now, before we get into that, a little bit of housekeeping. I don't know if many of you know, but on the YouTube channel we have a members section, and I've just recently restarted my Patreon section. It's basically an extended way for you guys to help support the channel, and all of your support has been massive for me, so thank you. To find it and have a little look around with no obligation, you just go over to here on the header and you can see there Patreon. So you click that symbol and it'll take you to the various tiers I'm supporting. Absolutely loving the support, so thank you so much. There's also a memberships tab on the YouTube page. Just there, press that membership tabs, and there's another way to support the channel at a slightly lower rate. But as I say, even if you don't support either way, your views are massive for me, so thank you. Right, enough of that. Let's get to this video. The wide centre back. What a role this is. So the first thing to mention, and it's the obvious one, is a wide centre back is meant for three centre back formations. You can't use them in a flat four. It's got to be in a back three or back five. And again, obviously, if you are using it, you can't use it in this middle position here. If we select that, you can see it's greyed out because obviously it's meant to be wide to the side. This brings us on nicely to the wide centre backs that are playing in today's football. Now, Rudiger at Chelsea is having a barnstormer, and just yesterday in the game against Man United, he was so far forward. He hit the crossbar. Aaron Cresswell doing a great job for West Ham in that left-sided role, and Alexander Kolarov, who we are going to feature today. Okay, so first up, what is the game's definition of a wide centre-back? So the main job of the wide centre-back is to stop the opposition attackers. So, you know, he is still the defender. Some people may forget that because it's such a new funky role, but that's his main job. But unlike a standard centre-back, he's encouraged to stay a bit wider when you've got the ball and support the midfield, like a fullback. So we're talking hybrid of fullback and centre-back. Now, with his different duties, so the defend duty, he's going to stay like a normal centre back in a back five, but be a bit wider, not likely to go as far forward as on a support duty, where he's going to make overlapping or underlapping runs now and again. Now flip that to attack, he's going to do it much more often, get more advanced and be a lot more aggressive. So I think the key point from that description is that it's a bit of a hybrid between a fullback and a centre back. So cross attributes are going to come into play there. Now you saw the three examples I gave. I'd love to hear your examples of wide centre backs as more and more creeping into the game. For example, Cresswell and Kolarov wouldn't have been considered centre backs as such until this season or past seasons where the wide centre back has come into fruition. We've established that the wide centre back is 4-3 at the back system, so what's the best way to use them in formation setups? So what you got to remember is your wide centre back is you need to establish what you want him to do. Do you just want him to cover a wider section and allow your wing back to get even more aggressive, or do you want him to contribute going forward? Let's take the first point first. So let's say our wing back on this side, DiMarco, we're going to have him as an attacking wing back, basically saying we want him up here more often than not. We want him to dominate up here, get up there and cross the ball in. Now if he's up here, so in possession, he may be as high as this. This means we've got a bit of a gap here. So we can then use the wide centre back on defend duty to sit in here when we've got the ball. So DiMarco flies up the wing, and with the wide centre back role, Kolarov's going to cover in here. So in defence, he's going to cover there, and in attack, he's going to contribute by probably staying in and around this area. And when he gets the ball, more likely looking to the ball in there like that, or deeper balls into the middle, not going up and down the line. He's going to leave that to DiMarco to do. Probably a great option away from home or in games where you're a bit worried about the opposition coming at you. That's probably a better option to use. Now, what if you want him to be a bit more aggressive and to contribute in the attacking third a little bit more? So you've got an option now. On support, he's going to do that. He's going to get that bit further forward, and you can mess with his playing instructions to make him even more aggressive. But obviously initial playing instructions that are hard coded into a wide centre back are stay wider, but we can add loads more to these. So Kolarov, for example, look at his attributes down there. He's pretty banging, isn't he? Crossing 17, for example. He's got a lot going for him going forward because he's used to playing as a fullback as well. Hybrid. This means we can add more to it if we want him to contribute higher up the park. For example, Cross more often, 100%. He's got crossing of 17. We need to make most of that. And then you need to decide where you want him to cross from. And this will go inside with your team instructions. If you're aggressive, super aggressive, cross from byline is going to mean he's going to get so far forward that when you've got the ball, he's going to look to get down there, making that run round there. So your wing back and your midfielders are going to try and find him as well. Or crossing from deep, which basically means he's going to get the ball maybe in and around these areas and cross from there. Not necessarily going to the byline. Maybe you want to save that role for your wing back. That's what you've got to weigh up. You also have other options such as take more risks. Now, if your wide centre back is good on the ball, such as Kolarov is, it's another good option to have if you've got confidence in him. Shoot more often. That's entirely up to you in the way you play. With Kolarov, he's got a bit of a ping on him. I'm probably going to ask him to shoot more often too, but it comes down to what play you have. Now you'll notice when you knock him to attack, so your wide centre back on attack, his hard-coded instructions, there's more of them. They're more aggressive, dribble more, cross more often, cross and byline. So you're basically telling your wide centre back from the get-go, you want him to be more aggressive. Adding to that, so they're in, but you can shoot more often, take more risks. But basically, your wide centre back on attack, he's going to be super aggressive. He's going to make so many runs down there. He's going to be up there all the time. Now, if you're combining that with a wing back, the wing back basically will be there. Your wide centre back is going to be in and around him. So you're looking at a double up and overload on that side. When doing this, the obvious things to look out for are this gap here, because he's going to be so aggressive. You're going to have a bit of a gap there. So you may want a more defensive-minded central midfielder if you want to exploit the left-hand side more. Maybe you're going to drop an anchor man in there. For me, it's a bit similar to having a wing-back on attack with a winger on attack. I don't think you need both because they're both going to try and get into these positions here. So you need to decide what your wing-back's doing. If you've got a wing-back on attack, I don't think you need a wide centre-back on attack. But if you've got a wing-back on defend duty or support and you've got more confidence or you want this centre-back to do that work, wide centre-back on attack might be the way to go. Plus, it can confuse opposition. They may not be expecting that wide centre-back to do that. And who's going to be tracking him? Is it going to be a forward? Is it going to be a winger? It might confuse the opposition. Interesting tool. We're going to have a look in match now at the position and movement using all the different roles: defence, support and attack. That's the setup. We'll start with on attack, and you can see in front of him I've got a wing back on defend purely because I want to see him go around and see how often he does that. So we'll start off showing his positioning when we've just got the ball in defence as well, and we've got him highlighted. We're playing DeMarco as the wide centre-back. He's such a good player, he can play both. So there he is. You can see how wide he is. He's basically on the edge, in line with the 18-yard box. Wing back, Damian outside him. We'll play it on and we'll watch what he does. Now, in defence, you can see he'll slot in there, into the middle. So like a normal centre-back, if you like. When it comes out wide, you can see him start to come out wide to back up Damian. Damian's got the ball, and because he's deep, DeMarco stays. He's thinking about going around him now. Damian lays it back to DeMarco and he's charging forward, dribbling the ball, forward movements. Infield to Sensei, and now you can see he's holding his position because it's on the other side of the pitch. He's not just going to aimlessly bomb up here when it's on the other side of the pitch. He's going to hold position a little bit more. Skirner brings it forward to Dumfries. You can see he's still holding his position, although be it very wide. So you can see the other centre-back, Bastoni, is basically in there by himself because Skirner started to move off. Bastoni's there and your wide centre-back's there. So that's when you need to think about, do you need a more defensive-minded central midfielder as well? Now in attack is what we've all been waiting for. So we've got DeMarco highlighted just there. Let's play this on. Bastoni's got the ball. He lays it to DeMarco, who charges forward. Look how aggressive he is. Outside him is his wing-back. He finds Damian, but he doesn't stop there. Look where he is now. He's basically in a left winger role. Striker finds him. That is where your wide centre-back on attack is going to be a lot of the time. So you can see the pure aggression and forward thinking that they've got. Not a lot of thought for back here. So that's why we need a little holding midfielder like Sensei's doing there. He's way up the pitch, basically playing like a really aggressive wing-back. And he stays up there and he stays up there. And this clip shows how you can combine play down the left. You can already see we've got 1-2 players over there outnumbering the opposition. When the ball comes to him, Bastoni gets it there. He finds DeMarco and he's going to combine now with a wing back. So this is a great combo to look at to overload one side of the pitch. You've got wing back and wide centre back on attack or support. Lays it to Damian. Look at that. We've got a 2-on-1 stroke 3-on-1 situation. Ball comes in and it nearly leads to another goal. So we've flipped it now. We've put DeMarco on defence duty and we've put Damian on attack. Let's see the difference. I'm thinking he's going to hold this position more back here and let Damian do the attacking work. You know it's happened. It's happened perfectly. So we've changed it just now, haven't we? So DeMarco is now on defend and Damian is now on attack. And look at the difference. So as we play it on, Damian's got it and then there's DeMarco there hovering. I wouldn't say he's busting a gut. If he was on attack, he'd be right down here. Playing it on, Damian takes the ball forward. DiMarco's there, but he's not fully committing to going forward. Sensi gets it. Now DiMarco gets the ball. Instead of dribbling with it, he lays it off straight away to Damian. Damian goes right down to the byline now, whereas DiMarco sits there. Now, if he's on attack, he's in there, isn't he? Trying to get round him, being aggressive. Instead, he opts to hold back, crosses from deep, and Mariano gets the header in. So there's little differences there, and the main one is he sits deeper, so he's going to be a bit more solid for you. This is proven by the very next attack. So the keeper's just got the ball from that attack. There's DiMarco there, busting a gut to get back in line with his other centre-backs. As the ball comes over, who wins it? DiMarco wins it. Lays it off straight away to Eriksson and just sits in that wide centre-back slot as a wing-back does the attacking work. He's just sitting waiting. Barella finds Sensi to find DiMarco, sitting again deep, not over-committing, but he's nice and wide so the ball can still focus down that side of the pitch. He lays it to the attacking wing-back Damian, who is the aggressive one, gets closer to the byline, crosses it in, and it leads to another chance. So really different little nuances between the roles. You can see how aggressive the attacking centre-back is when he's bombing out wide, and the defending one just going to make it that little bit solid. But he is still, important point, he is still a lot more aggressive than a normal centre-back on defend. Wide centre-back will still get a little bit further forward. By the way, it's so bright outside, look at that. Now, formation-wise, it's obviously going to be a 3 or 5 at the back variation. It's up to you how you go. It's going to slightly differ depending on the role you give your wide centre-back, I think. So if he's on an attack, your wing-back's going to be on defend or support. Like I said, I would avoid putting them on attack because they're both going to end up in the same area. Now, this is where it gets a little bit tricky. We just played a dominating game where we're expected to win, so I didn't bother with a holding midfielder on this side as such. However, if we're going to play a team that's a little bit better than us or a close one away from home, one of these boys in here, I would probably drop back into this sort of role. Something like this. So this just gives a bit more security and allows your wide centre back to bomb on that a little bit more. We could even potentially, with that holding player there, have our wing back on support as well. So we can be really aggressive down that side. An anchor midfielder, maybe a defensive midfielder, or even a great option is a halfback. When would I use a halfback in the wide centre back formations? It would be if I've got both on wide centre back. So they're both going to be basically with the ball like this. Your halfback can then drop into there if he needs to, effectively making a back four. Same goes if you've got wide centre back on defend. I think there's no point then in having one of these midfielders dropping in because he's not going to go too far forward like you saw. So you can get a bit more adventurous with your midfield three. How about a 3-4-3? So your wing backs are now wingers. Well, if you're going to use a defensive winger, you can look at defensive winger a bit like a wing back. He just starts a bit higher. So again, you can use your wide centre back on support or attack. That's aggressive route, really aggressive. So the guy on this side, I would probably drop to a holding midfielder or something like that just to back up, just in case. Now on the other side, if you've got a winger, for example, on that side and you want to use this fella as a wide centre back, that's when I would go with defend, because the winger on attack's going to be way down there, not really caring about what's going on back here, so you don't want him to be flying up there as well. You want him to hold his position in that sort of role. Hope that makes sense. You've just got to make it make sense. If you've got an aggressive player already bombing up and down the flank, you don't need him to join him as much. So you want to think defence at a push, support. If this boy is more of a defensive player, that's when you can get the aggressive version of the wide centre-back. And that's a brief guide to the wide centre-back. It's such a new, powerful role. It's just a little bit tricky. You just need to see what it does in match and then build your team around it and make it make sense. Defensive coverage, attacking coverage. It's a nice little role. Hope you enjoyed that video. Thanks for your patience at the start of the video when I mentioned the memberships and the Patreon. It does mean a lot, so thank you so much. We'll be back soon with another video. You take care.